Muhammadu Buhari preaches hope to Nigerians as Christians across the world mark Easter celebration. He says the celebration might be subdued, but he's asking that all persons should be hopeful at such a time as this. And Nigerians stranded in China cry out for help as they allege inhumane treatment in the hands of Chinese government. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. It's Easter Friday and happy Easter to all Christians. I'm Sean Kimaloye in Lagos, the epicenter of Nigeria's war against coronavirus, where authorities say the confirmed cases stand at 288 with 14 new cases, 13 in Lagos and 1 in Delta State. Where the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has briefed the nation today as their practice as the nation enters into the season of Easter, but which may be celebrated in a rather quiet manner due to the lockdown orders of the president. Today, the national coordinator of the task force warns state governments who are relaxing the lockdown orders, saying it is not the right time to do so. Take a listen to him.
Celebration, as the DG and CDC said, we would like to remind the public that we're still in lockdown for Lagos, Ogun, and the FCT. The evidence so far from literature shows that the cessation of movement, or otherwise called lockdown, continues to be one of the most effective physical distancing measures when it comes to controlling COVID infection. After all, this is an infection that is invisible. This is an infection that spreads socially. It's a very social virus. It requires close interaction with each other. So if we can maintain that distancing, we might be able to fight it more effectively.
After the press conference, representatives of the Presidential Task Force were at the Presidential Villa to brief the President on the state of things. The National Coordinator, the Minister of Health, and the Director General of the NCDC were all there earlier today to brief President Muhammadu Buhari as we get into the second week, or get into the end of the second week of the lockdown order in Lagos, Abuja, and Ogun State. Let's get to some update on the activities of some governors across the state and our political roundup.
The Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Farouk, has delivered some relief items to Lagos to support the state in dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic today. The minister said President Muhammadu Buhari directed her to deliver some of the relief items to Lagos, Ogun and the FCT to distribute to residents in this period of lockdown ordered by the federal government. She adds that President Buhari has directed that the Trader Money and Market Money Intervention Program be expanded to include other vulnerable groups.
We are bringing food relief in terms of rice and condiment. We also flagged off the Trader Money and Market Money Intervention.
We want to thank Mr. President very well for continuing to be the father of the nation and continue to lead the nation at this time. And this will go into our strategic COVID-19 emergency food response.
The Cross River State Governor, Professor Ben Ayade, has led a team of political appointees as well as members of the state COVID-19 response team to the boundary point between Cross River and Akwa Ibom states to personally ensure compliance with the restricted movement order earlier issued to check the spread of COVID-19 into the state. Speaking at the Calabar-Itu Head Bridge, a boundary point between Cross River and Akwa Ibom states, Governor Ben Ayade assures his people that he will know no sleep until the era of COVID-19 pandemic fades away.
You can look at my back, there's complete barricade. Nobody's going to go through here. And this will remain like this until we feel that Cross River is safe. So let Cross Riverians know that they can go to sleep, because I will know no sleep so that they can sleep.
The Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has appeared in public for the first time after recovering from COVID-19. He was the second high-profile person to get infected in Nigeria and the index case in Bauchi State. Governor Mohammed was discharged after spending over 2 weeks of isolation. The governor describes his experience as dreadful and a trail.
Sorry for any inconveniences that I might have caused anybody in Bauchi or in Nigeria. It is not my wish to be infected, but certainly this has shown me enormous love, respect, and regard to myself and to my family.
Easter Friday, and President Muhammadu Buhari says it might be a subdued one, but he wants everyone to be hopeful. It's asking Christian faithful to rekindle their faith in Christ, who overcame persecution, sufferings, displayed endurance, steadfastness, and above all, piety. The president, in his Easter message to Nigerians, believes that there is no better opportunity than now for all Christians in particular and Nigerians in general to remain faithful and hopeful that with intensify prayers backed by personal and collective responsibility, the nation shall pull through this most difficult trial. He says that he's also not unaware of the personal and collective inconveniences suffered by Nigerians due to measures such as restriction of movement and closure of business premises. He, however, believes that these sacrifices are in everyone's interest to save Nigeria from calamity. The president, however, advised Nigerians not to down their guards, as some criminal elements may want to take advantage of the current situation to foment trouble. So, let's jump straight into the issue and the matter for discussion tonight on this Easter Friday edition. Tonight, and it is about the plight of some Nigerians who are stranded in China, a case which has been heightened by the coronavirus pandemic situation across the world. You may have seen some videos online on some social media platforms being circulated. Let me show you part of that engagement of a Nigerian official in China with a Chinese official. Take a listen or watch that engagement.
First 14 days is acceptable by us. Another 14 days, you didn't communicate to us that you are going to do another 14 days after 14 days. They have tested negative and then they have given them the paper. Why are they giving them another 14 days? That is one. Two, all the police, the documents, this passport belongs to the federal government of Nigeria. In line with international practice, no any country have the right to seize the international passport of another country. Wait! They are not in my hand. I just withdraw it from them. They seize it. You have that. I said they seize it. And then you know, your deputy general, all the passports of Nigeria they seize. Ask him. He was released yesterday. Why are they seizing Nigerian passport? It not belong to the China. If you seize Nigerian passport, it's like you are seizing Nigeria as a whole. It's not acceptable. That's another thing. The third one I'm going to tell you, you didn't communicate to us that you are going to go to all the Nigerian houses and then you are going to ask them to come out and go and quarantine them. Did you communicate to us? No. Nobody communicates to us. If you want to do your policy of 14 days, shut down everybody. Don't discriminate. Everybody should sit at home.
That's the engagement of a Nigerian official in Guangzhou in China, as obtained on social media, online. As you can see there, perhaps some of you have seen that. Some of the people you see in that video are asking the federal government to come to their aid. And tonight we shall be looking at the issue. By the way, the leadership of the House of Representatives have met with the Chinese ambassador in Nigeria and has told him to end the inhumane treatment of Nigerians in China. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, told the Chinese official that the inhuman treatment of Nigerians in China must be addressed forthwith. The Speaker went ahead to confront the ambassador with a protest video of the incident where a Nigerian was seen challenging Chinese officials over the maltreatment. Let's get straight into the matter now. I'm being joined from our Abuja studio, the Senate Committee Chair on Humanitarian Affairs, on Foreign Affairs, Senator Adamu Bukachua. He joins us from our Abuja studio, and the Director of Center for China Studies, Mr. Charles Onunaiju. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. Senator, let me begin with you tonight. It's sad to see that situation play out with some Nigerians, and you can see the officials there. Has it come to you the notice of the Senate on what is happening? And have you had any engagement with the Foreign Affairs Minister? By the way, we extended invitation to the ministry to get their view on how they are trying to evacuate Nigerians from there.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to this program. And this very clip you just showed is, like you said, a social media clip. So it hasn't come to the Senate as an official document or official complaint, either from the Nigerian embassy in Beijing, which is in charge of all the consulates that are under that embassy, that is Guangzhou, Shanghai, and even Taiwan. It hasn't come to us. We just saw it, I saw it, just like everybody else. But the way I see it, there are so many unanswered questions there. There are things that we need to know more about it, even if it comes. But generally speaking, I can tell you that out of our missions, missions in China, I have been in close contact with the ambassador there, Ambassador Babajida. And even just day before yesterday, I spoke with him regarding the welfare of Nigerians that are in China, and he briefed me fully. And in fact, before that, he had briefed me about the medical assistance that the Chinese government offered to Nigeria, and the way that Nigerian government accepted and are happy about that. And that shows our relationship with China is in top gear. So to answer your question shortly, briefly, is we haven't received this clip officially. So I will not say whether it's the version is really an affront to Nigerian community, or some way the social media put across their message of either disinformation or passing on something to convince the general public.
Let's take a break, but when we come back, we will speak with an expert in Nigeria-Chinese relation and hear whether there's anything that has majorly gone wrong between Chinese and Nigerians living in China or in Nigeria, as the case may be. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on this edition of the program. We're looking at the situation, the plight of some Nigerians who look now they're stranded in China. Some of the clip you must have seen on your social media platform. Tonight, we're being joined by Senator Adamu Bukochua, Chairman Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, and Mr. Charles Onunaiju, the Director, Center for China Studies. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming tonight. Let me come to you, Mr. Onunaiju. In that video, there is an allegation of selective maltreatment on Nigerians and some blacks in China. Do you perceive any major strain in the relationship of Nigerians and Chinese people there, or what do you suspect?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. One, I'd like to say that there is no single incident, no matter how significant, that defines the relationship between two countries. And I would like to ally with Senator Bukochua, who had said that he is yet to receive any official complaint, and what we see in social media, in most cases, is not enough to define a particular event, as we all know that even social media sometimes are susceptible to some manipulation. But that being the case, I think Nigeria and China has had a very great cooperation. Nigeria has been engaging China in broad range of fields, including mutual support in the struggle against the current pandemic. Like, you know, when it happened in China first, Nigeria raised its voice. President Buhari was among the African leaders that threw their support behind China, urging for an early closure to that event, and believing that China has both capacity and competence to deal with the matter and bring the matter to a reasonable closure within a certain time. So notwithstanding this particular incident that happened in China, where it is alleged Nigerians have been maltreated. But what I know is that in Guangdong province or in Guangdong province, there is incidence of imported cases of coronavirus, in which about 9 Nigerians have tested positive, and there is also an instruction that all foreigners arriving in China must be quarantined within a specific period. And there is this particular unfortunate incident in which a Nigerian, Mr. Nwoye, who was quarantined, wanted to forcibly leave the quarantine section, and in the course of it was known to have assaulted a nurse and a doctor. It's been published in the Chinese press, and it's been followed up by investigation by police authorities in Guangzhou. And there is an instruction that everybody going out in Guangzhou should have his mask, and then there is a code, a green code for those who are COVID-free. Guangzhou is not locked down so far, but there is a green code for all those who are tested and are known to be free of COVID before they could. So we don't know the totality of this. Our people are subjecting themselves to the rigors of these rules about getting the code to testify your health status and wear a mask and all this. We don't know. These are all what the information that could be presented formally by our consulate in Guangzhou. Like distinguished senator said, we have a consulate in Guangzhou, we have in Taiwan, we have in Shanghai. And I think with time, we could get a comprehensive information as to what is the issue. But be that may, I would like to say that Nigeria-China has had a very great relation, and this has manifested itself in the extensive engagement we had since the outbreak of this pandemic. Nigeria showed considerable support to China. And in our own case, of course, we have seen the Chinese extending very warm and great assistance to China, sending in medical personnel, sending in medical supplies, very rare medical supplies, like we know is quite rare in the international market because almost every country needs it. We are getting this. So I think generally, Nigeria and China cooperation is broadly very smooth. And like, we've had incidences of Chinese workers being kidnapped in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any one single incident that can define the cooperation of our people. And like,
sorry,
the
apologies.
Premier
Let me, Mr.
leadership-
Onanaiju, let me get the senator back into the conversation. Senator, there are allegations in that video that the passports of some of the Nigerians there were collected, which the official was raising as one of, he raised the flag on that. Should you say that the investigation has not officially begun from the point of view of the Senate, but should the investigation be concluded and found out that Nigerians were inhumanely treated, is there going to be a consideration of reciprocity, or how far could Nigeria go in confronting this matter?
Well, what you heard is on social media, like I said before. And the issue of Nigerians being asked to present, or their passports are being seized by the Chinese authorities, that still has not been officially reported to the embassy and to the Senate or to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to the best of my knowledge. And in any case, it's be too soon for anybody, including yourself, to assume that really Nigerians have been maltreated. This is what you saw on the social media. And like I said, there are so many unanswered questions, and I don't think time will permit us to go into all those details here. So for that matter, I don't think we can draw conclusions here about the end results after investigation and the way and manner Nigeria-China relationship is progressing. So I think we should be fair to the issue and wait and receive all the facts before we can put it for public discussion.
Senator, quickly, the House of Reps leadership have confronted the ambassador to China today with the video. How far can the Senate go, or the federal government of Nigeria, in confirming this case or investigating it?
Yes, even if the House of Representatives has confronted the Chinese ambassador, maybe they have got their own version of the thing, of the video. And we in the Senate, I think, being more mature, we don't react just instantaneously by, if we see something on social media, we just jump to conclusion and then challenge the other people concerned, in this case, the Chinese embassy, and ask them to defend themselves. We don't do that. What we do is we find out from them whether there's any truth, in fact, in that issue. We have seen the social media side. Now we should hear from the Chinese side. And I'm sure
Senator,
the Chinese ambassador in Nigeria...
Apologies, Senator. Yeah, let me get the final thought in 20 seconds from Mr. Onanaiju. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, tweeted to say that he has invited the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria to communicate the concern of the federal government on the allegations of maltreatment. But from that point, when we've seen what the minister has said, where do we go from here? Just in 20 seconds, please.
Yeah, this is a standard practice to invite an envoy for discussion of issues like this. But like the senator said, I think getting the facts, because we have an embassy in China, we have officials in China, and I think getting the facts of what the situation is. Of course, reacting instantaneously to assuage the Nigerians, to assure them that their government is on top of the situation, is not looking back, is focused on it. It is important. It's a standard practice in diplomacy to invite invite the envoy of the country involved to have a discussion. So this is a standard practice. But what I think is that Nigeria and China cooperation has great prospects and is wide-ranging. This
Mr.
is just one little
we need to leave it
in
at
my
that.
view, that can also be sorted out. Yes.
We're obviously out of time, but thank you so much, Mr. Ononaiju. He's the director of the Center for Chinese Studies, and Senator Adamu Bukuchua, Chairman, Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs. Thank you for your thoughts, and our prayers are with our brothers and sisters who seem to be concerned and worried in China. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching tonight. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.